I have really been dreading doing this video. Hey, what is up, you guys? It is your girl, Dr. Kathleen Nash with Butterfly Evolution. Hope you are having a phenomenal Memorial Day, because that is when I'm actually recording this. And I am going to go through the results of my own personal 10-day metabolic challenge. I would like to say that I'm super excited about doing this, but I don't know why. I have really been dreading doing this video, but we are going to go ahead and do it and go through it. And I'm going to show you the results. And in order to do that, I first want to try to give you a little bit of background and a little bit of context about why I ended up doing my own personal 10-day metabolic challenge. For those of us that have been living through the last few years, we probably already know that weight has always been an issue in the United States, at least for the last 60 years or so, where it's really gotten out of hand, but never more so than in the last few years. Now, the problem is when you try to look up this information, whether it's online or try to get reporting on it from the media, it's really very difficult to come by. I had to do a lot of research to try to get this information, and even the statistics that I'm going to share with you today aren't necessarily as recent or as up to date as they could be. So if we were to look at these two pictures here, right? This was as of 2021. I tried to find things that were more recent, just really had a hard time finding it. 61% of Americans since the spring of 2020 have said that they have experienced a weight gain primarily associated around the lockdowns. And on the right, the picture from Statista is showing that breakdown by generation. So Americans across the board, all age groups, saw an average weight gain of 30 pounds. But then the millennials alone saw a weight gain of approximately 42 pounds. So the first thing that I want to bring up is that if you feel that you are alone in terms of gaining weight since spring of 2020, that's not true, right? In fact, a majority of the country did. In fact, if we look at obesity rates from 2019 to 2021. In 2019, prior to the lockdowns, our obesity rate was already high at 29.9%, but in as little as 2 years, it climbed almost 13% to 42.4. This is an unprecedented amount of growth in just a 2-year period. And if it was something that was good for the body or healthy or moving us in the right direction, then that would be great. However, obesity is well documented to have negative consequences to the body, to drive metabolic disease, which is my whole gig that I talk about, to shorten life and to make that quality of life actually lower, right? And knowing this going into the lockdowns, I was working really hard on making sure that my weight, at the very least, remained stable. But I also thought that we were only going to be in the lockdown situation, first for a couple of weeks, and then maybe for a month, and then maybe for a couple months, and then suddenly it started dragging on into years. And the reason that I was so confident that I was going to be able to hold my own during this surreal situation, the most surreal situation in history, is because I had already corrected this problem after a 25-year battle with obesity. So I started gaining weight at 8 years old. I got up to 237 pounds by my 3rd year in practice, which is the heavy set big pictures of me on the left in there, right? And as a result of finding out about metabolic strategies and tying metabolic strategies to traditional diet strategies, I was able to lose 80 pounds, and I was able to hold that 80 pounds for 12 years. Right? So when we go into the lockdowns, I'm thinking I'm golden. I've got this. I've corrected this. I know what to do. I know how to keep it off, everything. Right? And I did for about the first year and a half, maybe I did. And then funny things started to happen. Not really funny, not funny, haha, but like funny, unusual. A funny thing started to happen is that I got very comfortable in my own home. I got so comfortable in my own home that when I would look at myself in the same mirrors day after day after day, if I would see myself in the same clothes day after day after day, in the same situation day after day after day, I wasn't really seeing if I was gaining any weight or not. In fact, it wasn't until I finally went to one of my best friend's house after months and months and months of staying in my home and seeing myself in a different angle with a different background in a different mirror, that I was finally able to see that I had not controlled it at all like I thought I did. And so I also gained weight during the lockdowns. And for me, this was a very humbling experience. It was a very depressing experience. It just added to the overall bleakness of the environment that we were all going through. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what had happened. How did this happen? So I personally never got infected, or I never got symptoms of the problem that we have been struggling with for the last 3 years, the problem that shut down the global economy, US economy, caused all kinds of devastation, not only to our health, but to our environment. I never had any of that, right? I didn't get sick. I didn't get any symptoms. I do have antibodies, but I just never experienced any symptoms. So I didn't deal with any kind of negative health consequence that could have driven the weight gain. While certainly my business had changed, and while it was certainly unpleasant, I didn't think that I had reacted to it by eating or overeating in a certain way. Like, I was really at a loss as to why the metabolic correction that I had built into my body for those 12 years just didn't hold. And when I finally figured it out, it was because I was watching a video on YouTube of a creator named Alex Hormozy. And he just happened to say it. He was talking about business, but when he said it, it made complete sense to me. And chances are it's going to make complete sense to you. But the minute he said this, it was so profound to me and such an epiphany and a shift that I took a screenshot of what he said in the video. And I wish I knew the name of the video where I would credit him, where you could watch it. But he's talking about business, but I took it to mean my own health. And this is exactly what happened to me during the lockdowns, and most likely happened to a lot of you as well. Because I had struggled with my weight for most of my life, and I was always jumping from one weight loss program to the next, finally in 2009, I had figured out that combining metabolic strategies with diet strategies is what my body needed in order to correct its weight issue, and that weight issue was stemming from underlying damage of fatty liver and prediabetes that had never been diagnosed and therefore had never been treated for reduction or reversal, not management. I don't want to manage them. I wanted to reduce or reverse them, and coming up with strategies that would effectively reduce or reverse them also helped me reduce and reverse the obesity and hold it. But during the lockdowns, this is what happened. So all my years of failure with traditional dieting programs led to me learning about metabolic strategies, how to combine metabolic strategies with traditional diet strategies to not only lose weight, but to target body fat in the weight loss and get the body to hold it, while also simultaneously reducing or reversing metabolic disease, for me, fatty liver and prediabetes. So I had learned how to do that. Learning how to do that led to success, not only with me and correcting my own weight issue, but for me helping thousands of people for 10 years of just successfully being able to reduce or reverse this metabolic disease, help people target and burn off body fat where they couldn't before, and get their bodies to hold it, right? So all of that success, but then that success led to complacency, and the complacency is what led to failure. That is absolutely what happened to me. I was so confident that I, one, knew what I was doing, that I knew how to do it, and I knew how to hold it, that I just stopped doing my program. I literally just stopped doing my program because in my mind, I had fixed it. I'd fixed everything. I was good. I was done. Right. And that I had created this pattern of behavior where I was never going to return back to the way I was. I became, in short, complacent, and the complacency led to the failure. And that finds me in 2023, where I'm having to do something now, where I see myself in my best friend's mirror. I see myself in a background that I'm not used to seeing. And suddenly I can see the weight gain, where prior to that, honestly, you guys, I knew it. I knew I had gained some weight, but I didn't know that I had gained a lot of weight, right? About 30 pounds worth of extra weight, right? And so that brings me into not just the 10-day challenge. But I do want to show you the results because that's why we're here. So let's go ahead and talk about what were my results of the 10-day challenge. So bam, here is what happened between the 10 days of me doing that metabolic challenge. My scale weight went down 7.2 pounds. My belly or my midsection lost over 5 inches. So 5.25 inches, over 7 pounds of loss on the scale. And this challenge was being done at the end of a 30-day diet cycle. So remember, I said I had gone to my best friend's house. I had seen myself in an angle in an environment that my brain was not used to seeing. And suddenly the weight gain was visible. So I didn't start working on it then, but I started working on it shortly thereafter. And because my best friend put me in a position where I had to be accountable to him, it really put me in a spot where I had to make results happen. And so that's what I had been working on for a period of time prior to me doing this 10-day challenge. So I was already in a calorie deficit. I was already working my metabolic strategies, and I was coming up to the tail end of a 30-day calorie reduction when I decided that the last 10 days of it, I was not only going to do the 10-day challenge, but I was going to make videos about it and share it with you guys. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because, one, I think you can see there's definitely a clear visible difference in the two pictures of how my body changed in just as little as 10 days. I do want you to know that those 5.25 inches, that was not throughout my entire body. That was just in the midsection. So in those 10 days, I took 3 measurements. One was in the upper belly, one was in the waist area or the belly button, and then one was in the lower part of the abdomen, right above the genitals. That's where the 5.25 inches came from. So this wasn't like an overall body measurement that I was doing. This was just those 3 areas. And the reason I'm bringing it up to you, that I was already going through weight loss prior to doing the 10-day challenges, is because a lot of times these results, while really good, a lot of times my clients get better results than I do, right? When they go through their own 10-day challenge, right? So I was really pushing for 10 pounds. I was pushing for, I think I said 3 inches. I beat that. But I didn't beat the 10 pounds, and most likely because I was already in a weight loss cycle prior to me going through the 10-day challenge, right? But for people that go into it without trying to lose weight prior, they're not currently going through a weight loss, these are examples of what they get. Let's take a look at Jolene, right? So Jolene is somebody who had been struggling for years, self-admittedly 20 years of trying to get her weight back to normal. She had gone to several doctors looking for treatments. She'd had several kinds of different testing done. She literally made me nervous about having her do what I do, because I figured all these other doctors were way smarter than me. I'm sure they had already tried the same things that I was going to try with her, and commercial programs just didn't work for her. But yet in as little as 10 days, as we can see on the left side, her weight was 5.4 pounds, but her belly lost 6.5 inches. And it's so visible, the kind of change that this woman got. And let's go ahead and hear her in her own words.
And since I've been 17, I've really struggled with my weight.
Then before coming to me, how long would you say you were trying to lose the weight or
So
get?
I have been trying for 20 years. I've done all the mainstream commercial diets, and, even on the forums and all that stuff, I was very active, very engaged. And I would look at people that had like a lot more weight to lose than me, seeing them get results and bypassing me. And I wasn't. And I'm like, and some of them are like, oh my gosh, I overate today. And, they were like beating themselves up for doing that. And I was always like, I never go over my amount. I never eat like I never eat. It was almost like a pride thing that I didn't eat to what I was supposed to eat at. So the under eating thing was still kind of there, but I still didn't really understand. I'm like, why am I not losing weight? Like, why are all these people that have like 100, 200 pounds to lose? And I just wanted to lose like 40, 50 pounds. And I couldn't even lose like 10 pounds on these mainstream commercial diets.
So imagine 20 years of doing this, chronically under eating, because that's the way we're told to approach this, that all you've got to do is create a calorie deficit and the body will respond every single time. Well, for Jolene and for pretty much any clients that I work with, that's just not true, right? The type of clients that I work are usually not people who just need to lose weight, but they need to lose weight in addition to correcting some kind of metabolic damage that's driving that weight problem to be stubborn, right? Those are the people that I feel that I've been called to serve and called to help, because those people are exactly like me. I didn't struggle with my weight because I didn't know how to do a calorie deficit. I did them quite well for 25 years. I personally struggled to lose weight and hold it because I was dealing with metabolic interference. My body just could not access and burn body fat optimally, not because my strategies were wrong, but because there was literal metabolic damage that interfered with its ability to burn fat properly, just like with Jolene. But then other people that have done my 10-day metabolic challenge get better results than I did here as well. For example, Kay, by her at the end of her 10-day challenge, she lost 7.3 pounds. She lost over 9 inches in 10 days, and she was halfway to reaching her ultimate goal. Jenna, after 10 days, had lost a total of 8.5 pounds. Alice, at the end of 10 days, lost a total of 8.8 pounds. So really, really good results from multiple types of women who are also struggling with some kind of metabolic problem. Even more, Cassandra, on day 10 of the challenge, she lost a total of 10.1 pounds. She lost 3 inches on her stomach. Debbie lost 11.75 inches here in the middle, and she lost a total of 6 pounds. So again, a lot of times this is common where maybe the weight loss, it's going to be one of the two, maybe either inches or pounds. For a lot of us, it's both. But for a lot of us, it's also one beats the other. Inch loss is almost always crazy insane with these metabolic strategies being applied to dieting strategies. And then Stephanie lost 7 pounds, but then she lost 2.5 inches on her waist, an inch on her hips, 3 inches on her chest, an inch off of her arm, half inch off the other arm, 2 inches on her thigh, 3.5 inches on her right thigh. She lost well into the double digits by just doing the simple act of combining a metabolic strategy with a traditional dieting strategy. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because prior to me showing you what my results were for the 10-day challenge, we looked at how obesity is growing at an unprecedented rate. And in fact, because of the way we look at obesity and approach obesity, now we're looking at by 2030, that nearly 50% of Americans or more will be struggling with some kind of obesity. And this is not me making these predictions. These are experts like the CDC making these predictions. And I don't think for the large majority of us that is the direction that we are wanting our body to go, because with obesity comes disease. And the longer we're obese, the more likely we're going to suffer with a number of different metabolic diseases, whether that's with heart disease, whether that's with diabetes, Alzheimer's, fatty liver, certain forms of cancer. None of us want to end up down that road. So because of that, what I'm going to offer is for you to take the 10-day metabolic challenge, just like I did, just like so many people have done with my challenges in the past. The next 10-day challenge is actually going to show up on June 5th. We only have about a week before we are going to do that 10-day challenge. The 10-day challenge is completely live. It's held entirely in our exclusive live Facebook group. I will be in there live doing coaching every single day. And one of the things that I'm going to offer in this 10-day challenge that I have never, ever offered before is the secret nutraceutical that I used to help me get that kind of result. This isn't even the nutraceutical that these other people used to get their results. It's what I used to get my result, because I was finally able to talk to my developer and get this product right here. So this is called, I don't know if you can see it. So this is called Metabolize. Now, if you don't know anything about me or my program, you don't know what Metabolize is. But if somebody who is watching worked with me in the past or was a private client, they very well know what Metabolize is. This nutraceutical has not been available with me or at all for almost 3 years. It hasn't been available since 2020. We still have people calling the office to this day asking if it is going to be for sale or if it's back in stock. This is technically not in stock. You cannot call my office and just buy it. it is not available. It is only available through the 10-day metabolic challenge because I have such a limited amount. I had to beg my developer just to get one case of it. I have one case of it. So I don't have enough of it to put it out on stock and to advertise it and talk about it and promote it in my normal avenues. I only have enough for those of you who want to do the 10-day metabolic challenge live on June 5th. So just know this is a very, very special challenge. It is one of the few times that this nutraceutical is available. It is the nutraceutical that I just used to get that kind of inch loss and scale weight loss 10 days into the last 10 days of my 30-day weight loss journey. Please, if you want to just try these metabolic strategies, see if metabolic strategies combined with a traditional diet approach will help you finally not only lose weight, but target body fat, target stubborn belly fat, and get your body back to a normal weight, go to butterflyblitz.com and sign up for the next live 10-day metabolic challenge. I look forward to seeing you guys in there. You only have a week left. And again, I only have one case of this. You'll see where it's available when you go to the website. If you want to use this and you want to see the kind of results that I just showed you in the video, make sure don't wait, because I'm sure that people, once they find out that this nutraceutical is available, but only through the challenge, it's going to fly off the shelf. So I hope you liked that results video. I hope it inspired and motivated you to take a more metabolic approach to your health and your weight loss. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.